Good evening, chaps. It's been a while since I've taken a video, so I've worked on a number of things on this Mercedes-Benz of mine for a while, and I haven't filmed. So I'm going to try and start with an area where people struggle the most, it seems. Reference field delivery to a Mercedes-Benz Generation 1 Euro spec M117963 engine. I've got the 5-litre. And it's like I say, the old system. With your fuel pump relay, I've had intermittent problems where the thing won't start. It's a recent occurrence. I changed the fuel pump out, and ever since then, I've had this problem. Because a new pump compared to the old pump, you don't really know. You can't quite be sure what they've changed. They no doubt did change things. So I'm suspecting it's done something to the circuitry. And upon tracing online, I managed to find out and determine what the different pinouts are. So I'll explain that in this video. But more importantly, I'm going to describe to you issues that I've had despite just replacing things, thinking and assuming things are wrong. They're not necessarily wrong. It's just wear and tear. So the relay in question, I'm going to show you something that I've just discovered now. Is this one. It's the 001-545-3405, okay? The 8-cylinder relay with kick-down function. It's very, very simple. It doesn't really produce much in it. There's not much in it. It's just a very simple circuit which governs field delivery and monitors tacho, and between the two calculates your kick-down capability. And by cleaning things, I found stuff worked. Then they don't work. Then they work. Then they don't work. So this system is not a priming delivery system. I don't know if that's strictly true, because I remember in the past I could hear my fuel pump relay running on ignition, and now it's not. However, I know that when I get energy to the fuel pump relay, this car starts on the button. It doesn't matter the temperature conditions or nothing. So perhaps the old design didn't need they didn't consider the priming function in the past. So when I'm looking at the circuit, I think I could actually bridge out pins here to make it a priming function. I just want to check that when I do that, I'm not bridging or backfeeding a power signal to the ignition start. And I'll explain what I mean. So here's my old relay. Here's the new one. And they all look like this, by and large. And it's acting exactly the same way. So I know it's not the relay. But at the same time, the relay, this one, it's intermittent and it doesn't work. And so I'm having problems there. But I've inspected my wiring, and I'm definitely getting a consistent 12 volts through to the live circuit for the fuel pump, and I'm getting a live circuit when I switch the ignition on, and I get a live circuit constant when I turn for starter, and that's when this pump actually starts delivering fuel. So multimeter, opened relay. It's like everybody else says, there's a glue seal which you just break with a box knife here, and then you pry it open with a watch screwdriver is good enough to just press on the side and twist up on either side, and then you can lift this mechanism out. Okay? So that's how you do that. Now, I've been doing this for 6, 7, 8, let's say a dozen times now to try and figure out what the hell's going on. And as you can see, I've got a beautiful circuit. It's very clean. I did have swarf and dirt in it. Not much, but there was corrosion between points, which I've now since cleaned. Despite that, still have problems. So let me give you a quick rundown on circuitry so that we're all familiar what's going on. And you can see some energy going through there for a minute. So let's just get those numbers down before this video bangs out. Right, if I turn this guy over, you're going to see 7 pins. The top one is your kick down. It even says 87K for kick. So that's this little guy here. this is your my circuit for the fuel pump relay, this black and red. 87 and number 30, okay? It's normally open now, and it's governed by this relay here. I'm going to use a Q-tip so I don't short or, stay away with fluff. I'm going to use this nozzle. This is the relay for fuel delivery. This is like a retaining circuit, but it's not a normally open circuit. If you look down here, it's closed. It's normally closed on de-energize. So it governs this main one for fuel delivery, but it opens the circuit when it energizes, and then that one kicks in. Now, I can't quite understand how that works yet, but what I've done is, if I take you now through to the second set of pins, this is a ignition, number 15 is this pin. This is a ignition on. So this is a live for ignition on. Just a reminder that this red one for the fuel delivery is a red wire in the fuse box. On the old car, this relay is inside the fuse box, and that's always hot, okay? There's always power there. There's no power to the black guy, number 87. Number 15 only gets energy when you turn on the ignition ready to start, okay? Then you've got ground and earth, which is number 31 up here. And then you've got another circuit, another pin down there, which is your TH for your tempo. So that's your rev counter. So that's an input from the rev counter to this fuel pump relay. It's not governing and outputting from here to your tacho. It's getting a signal from your tacho into here. Okay, so that's very important to understand. Do not put a signal on there. When this is running, the power that I'm getting to here, depending on your revs, on idle, it's at 8 volts, just for your information. This is ground, like I mentioned before, number 31. And very important, nobody says anything about this. This is pin 50. And pin 50 is start. So what I've done is I've taken 2 leads from a 12-volt battery, and I've connected them both to 15 ignition on and 50 to start. And I'm going to take my ground on 31, and I'm going to close the circuit. Now watch what happens. Yeah, as you can see, both those relays energize. Normally open kicks in, and then this main fuel pump relay circuit closes. That means that 87 and number 30 becomes a closed circuit, and your fuel pump starts. No problems. However, after cleaning and cleaning, I find that this little guy isn't getting a closed circuit for some reason. I had it on this afternoon, no problem. Now all of a sudden I'm not getting it. So it's a little bit fiddly for me because I need 2 hands and I'm holding a bloody phone. The thing is, when I try to, if you look at my circuit now that's energized, I'm getting 86 ohms. That's not good enough for a closed circuit, especially on 12 volt. So there's current, there's current loss. Now it's depreciating, but that doesn't mean anything to me. It's suggesting to me, however, that the contact on the top there of this main fuel pump relay is on the blink. That little guy down there. Because when I press down on the spade contact, I get a good continuity. Yeah. You see? Look how it dropped. Now I'm trying to hold this. So I know this is almost like an issue that you'd have with your points that's going on here. You see that little spade? This, not spade connection, this little point connection in here is made now to close. And it's not good enough. Look, it's sitting around 100 ohms. It's hovering about. It's not a very good circuit. But when I spray it, boom, back down to a nice acceptable level. I'm spraying it with electronic spray, by the way. I want to give it a little bit more pressure on this on the spade and see if that makes things different. It's actually going to into infinity now, so it's not very good. So I think I found my problem. Now, I suggest you guys do the same as me. Don't go and buy a goddamn new relay. It absolutely made zero difference. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean that point like you'd clean ignition points, and then I'm going to give it another go. I'm actually going to twist that little copper tab ever so slightly to give it a bit more pressure to close the circuit better. I'm also going to do a temperature test on this coil. It's warm. So, well, it's not even warm. So it's cold to the touch, which means that on energy, it's not generating a huge amount of heat, which is rightly so, because that circuit is supposed to stay on throughout the duration that the car is running. The minute you break that circuit, the fuel pump stops, your engine starves. Right, so I'm going to crack on now, guys. I'm going to clean that that points contact over there, and then I'm going to give it a bit more life, and then I'm going to stick it back in the car, and hopefully then I don't have a duff starting procedure. So I hope that helps you in some way getting towards the legend, the wiring circuit legend for these fuel pump relays, together with the common problems here on these fuel pump relays. A lot of people say to you, and you will see this, that the corrosion takes place around the hot spots of the fuel pump relay circuit. And you can see it there. Let me give you an indication. It's this guy here. Yeah, and over there. And there's usually some corrosion that builds up around here. I found that happening. So I've cleaned that. Now I'm going to go work on that contact. I'll let you know, guys, how it's getting on.